Hello, everyone. Welcome to the News Browse News broadcast. UPI reports that Navy Secretary John Phelan has been removed from his position, effective immediately, according to an announcement by Chief Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell on Wednesday evening. Parnell expressed gratitude for Phelan's service to the department and the U.S. Navy and wished him well. Undersecretary Hung Tsao will step into the role of acting secretary. The Pentagon has not yet provided specific details regarding the reason for Phelan's abrupt departure. This development occurs on a day when U.S. naval forces are involved in a blockade of Iranian ports, with Iran having attacked and seized 2 cargo ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Phelan's exit also follows recent shakeups within the U.S. military, including Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's decision earlier in April to force out Army Chief of Staff Gen. Randy George and other Army personnel. Yonhap News Agency reports that North Korea issued a strong condemnation on Thursday regarding Japan's recent establishment of military drone offices. Pyongyang warned that this move would only serve to fuel Tokyo's reinvasion ambitions. The criticism follows the Japanese Ground Self-Defense Force's decision earlier this month to set up 2 new offices dedicated to the research, development, procurement, and maintenance of unmanned military assets, aiming to bolster its unmanned capabilities. North Korea's state media, the Korean Central News Agency, KCNA, asserted that Japan's acquisition of unmanned systems would elevate its reinvasion capability and accelerate militarist war zeal. The KCNA further accused Japan of working desperately to realize its reinvasion ambition, targeting neighboring countries, labeling it a grave development. Pyongyang also cited Japan's acquisition of U.S.-made Tomahawk missiles as evidence that Tokyo is hastening its pace toward overseas reinvasions. The KCNA urged the international community to thoroughly monitor the military moves of the war criminal country. Yonhap News Agency reports that SK hynix Inc. announced record-breaking revenue and profits for the first quarter of the year. The South Korean chipmaker's net profit reached an unprecedented 40.34 trillion won, equivalent to approximately $27.34 trillion won, equivalent to approximately $27.3 million, marking a significant 397.6% increase compared to the same period last year. Operating income also saw a remarkable surge of 405.5%, reaching 37.61 trillion won, while sales climbed 198.1% to 52.57 trillion won. These figures represent the first instance of a South Korean chipmaker achieving quarterly sales exceeding 50 trillion won, surpassing market expectations. SK hynix attributes this robust performance to a surge in global prices for dynamic random access memory, DRAM, and exceptionally strong demand for high-bandwidth memory, HBM, and other high-end products crucial for the burgeoning AI server industry. The company anticipates continued expansion in global memory demand for both JACRAM and NAND flash, fueled by the evolution of AI into agentic AI and improvements in memory efficiency technologies. To meet this sustained demand, SK hynix plans to introduce new products and substantially increase investment in infrastructure and equipment, including the ramp-up of its new M5X fab in Cheongju and preparations for the Yongjin cluster. The Trump administration took the unusual step of deploying a government plane to Cuba to repatriate a 10-year-old Utah child caught in a complex and contentious custody dispute involving gender identity. NBC News reported Rose Anessa Ethington, a transgender woman and one of the child's parents, is accused of international parental kidnapping after allegedly taking the child to Cuba without the biological mother's consent. A family member expressed concern that the trip was intended for gender transition surgery, a procedure explicitly illegal for minors in Cuba. Anessa Ethington and her partner, Blue Anessa Ethington, were arrested and charged. Evidence includes a $10,000 withdrawal and a note from a D.C. therapist discussing gender-affirming care for children, though not specifically mentioning Cuba. The deployment of a Justice Department plane is notable, aligning with the Trump administration's efforts to restrict gender-affirming care for minors. The child has since been returned to the biological mother. Al Jazeera reports that 15 South American migrants and asylum seekers recently deported from the United States to the Democratic Republic of Congo are facing intense pressure to return to their home countries, despite serious concerns for their safety. Women from Colombia, Peru, and Ecuador shared with Reuters that, since their arrival in the Central African nation last week as part of a controversial third country agreement with the Trump administration, they have been given no viable options other than going back to their places of origin. Some of these individuals had sought asylum in the U.S., fleeing persecution. For example, one Colombian woman documented being kidnapped and tortured by an armed group. A U.S. immigration judge had even determined she was likely to be tortured if sent back. Deportees described being shackled during the 27-hour flight. Immigration advocates, including U.S.-based lawyer Alma David, contend that these third-country deportations are a deliberate tactic by the Trump administration to intimidate migrants and asylum seekers into abandoning their claims by sending them to unfamiliar nations, many of which have significant human rights issues or active conflicts. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.